Right, hi folks, and I've set a camera up here. It's probably not the most picturesque start to a video, but I've not been here probably since the late 90s. The first time I did this, Monroe, was from this side, but I've not been back from here to do it again. I have been up it a few times, but from different ways, and today's going to be a different route to what I did 20 years ago. So anyway, long and short of it today is I'm heading up this peak. We can just about make it out behind the trees there. Looks quite far away, probably because it is quite far away, and I just wanted to do something different. I've got a free day, my wife's away to the ILMA, and I thought the usual suspects. For me, I tend to go to the nearer hills. I didn't want an early start because I was out yesterday, so I was thinking, I could go up Ben Vorlich again, or Ben Lors again, or Ben Moor again, but I kind of thought, I've had this route in mind for a wee while, and because of one thing or another, I've just not got around to doing it. So I'm doing it today. I'll report back in a wee while. I have got a story about the first time I did this, which isn't a good story, which I'll share with you later on. But for now, I've just started. I need to sort of get some kilometres in, and I'll bring you back a wee bit later on, and hopefully the path isn't as bad as it was the last time.
So the start of this walk sees me heading up some forestry tracks, and once I get to the end of these, this is the bit I was quite apprehensive about. I need to head through some commercial forests, which could be quite tricky.
Right, I'm nearly at the end of the forestry road. I do see there's a new forestry road, it's not on the map, which goes up here, which takes me a bit higher, so I might go up there. I'll see, but I'll show you the route. I can see most of the route. Well, you can get an idea of the route from here, but if I just spin you around, I'll show you. So I'm going up onto this, but beyond these trees, I think we're going to head round there up onto the ridge, and the ridge goes up to this point, and you can see it going round, and that's I can't remember the name of that top, but that's the first top. It could almost be a Monroe, and then you can just about see the Monroe there, and it's really, really steep, and then I'll be coming down in a horseshoe down this way, then back round. But there's a few things I'm quite worried about. Once I get out the trees, I'll tell you the story of the bad story, what happened the first time I was here, due to the trees, and then I'll tell you about the next story, which I'm a bit apprehensive about getting to the top here, because me and Jerry have been up the final part of this from a different glen. But anyway, let's crack on this now, and I'll report back hopefully when I'm through these woods. Right, we're not out of the woods yet, excuse the pun, and I followed a fire break between this newer planted commercial plantation and the older stuff. It's not been too bad, but it's still quite wet, and it's been dry for weeks. So definitely, if you're going to do this route, keep it for a dry spell. And that kind of relates back to the story and this bad story that I had 20 odd years ago, maybe more. I came up, but I went through the woods on the other side, and I don't know if I took the wrong path or the path was just that bad. It was horrible through the commercial plantation. There was massive big deep bogs. I was having to duck sort of on my hands and knees in places, and I remember standing on a wet root and slipping. My leg went behind me, and that's the first time I can remember really hurting my knee. Whether it had been damaged with all the sports I did when I was a kid, I don't know, but that was the first time it was sore. I had to go to the doctor, and I think that led to the first scan and possibly the first operation, I think. Yeah, it was a good 6 months before, maybe a year before it healed correctly. But anyway, another wee tip for you, if you get a chance to look back, if you get to a point on your route where you can look over to where you're maybe going to be coming down, and this is what I've done here, always take the time to look and just see if there's any obstacles, anything that's going to make your life easier. And I've looked over here, and there's obviously it's not on the map again, but there's a new forestry plantation being put up where they've been felling the forest. And that's going to make my life so much easier. I'm going to head for that on the way down, as opposed to going down the way I did 20 years ago and finding myself in the bog. So it's always worthwhile just having a look over your shoulder and seeing your return route if you can do that. It's another advantage of doing a horseshoe, I suppose. More about that later. But anyway, let's get up onto this ridge. Got another few hundred metres before I'm out of this forest, so hopefully I don't slip on any roots. Let's go.
Up I went, and it really is quite hard to walk through forests like this. It's there's lots of holes and bogs and old branches and mossy bits, and to be honest with you, once I got out onto the open hillside, I was pretty relieved.
Oh, this is tough going. just taking my time. There's no path on this side of the hill, which has got its ups and its downs. Obviously a path makes things easier, but if there was a path it would mean this would be a lot busier. And I'm really enjoying the solitude. In fact, there was no other cars in the car park when I parked up, which just shows you it's a lovely summer Sunday's day. And I think I'll probably come across quite a few folk when I get onto the more popular route, which I'm going to take down to a certain point. But yeah, I have now got to one of those points where the views that you've not seen open up. So let me just spin you around and show you the big boys of the region. Big boys of the region, and these are them. Yeah, instantly recognisable to those of you who know the Scottish hills and go out and about. Even to those of you who don't get into the hills, you probably recognise these two, because they can be seen from so many places. They're a bit like Schiehallion, but Benmore and Stibinian, big massive mountains, biggest in the area. I think the next biggest one will be Ben Lors that way, and then I don't know if Ben Louis is higher, but yeah, these are big boys. Anyway, I always look at Stibinian and feel like somebody's taken a samurai sword to it and just chopped the top off it. And yeah, that's what you know when you look at these two big mounds. It's that flat top of Stibinian that really makes them noticeable, I think. Anyway, I can now see where I'm going. It's levelling off a wee bit along the ridge. Let me show you. This looks quite nice. You can see now it's kind of levelling off a wee bit. It's not as steep as it has been, and there's almost the signs of a path there, I think, or an animal track. And I go to the top of this ridge, and I think it's about 959 metres, and I have to drop down before you can see that the mountain's called Cruach Ardrain, and that final pool is steep, so I'm quite worried about that. I'm not worried, apprehensive. I've done it before. I'll tell you a bit more about it, but I tell you what, there's a lovely breeze now. Those flies were annoying me coming up there, ink legs, so this breeze is keeping them at bay. Right, what I'll do is I'll report back when I get to the high point before dropping down to the Munro. Here we are, the summit of maybe the second peak on the ridge, maybe the first substantial one, Cruach Ardrain, and this is 855 metres. And yeah, the wind's whistling up here, it's quite nice. Might have to lose the cap soon, but let me spin you around. I've still got another couple of drops to go before tackling the big boy. Yeah, so hopefully you can see, I might just be silhouetted, but I've got to drop down here, then up onto Stobgarv, which is 959 metres, then a drop down, and then it's the intimidating near vertical path to the top of Cruach Ardrain, which is over 1,000 metres. But yeah, let's go. I'll report back when I get to the top of Stobgarv and see how I'm feeling.
It was yet another descent and another ascent to get up to the top of Stobgarv, and I don't know if I'd said, but I was out the day before and been walking over some pretty rough ground, so my legs were feeling quite tired. All these ups and downs were taking it out of me, and yeah, I was certainly glad when I saw the summit of Stobgarv, although I did know the hardest part of the hike was still ahead of me.
Oh, well, this dropped over the summit of Stobgarv. I actually stopped at the top, got a wee bit of shelter, and because the ground's so dry, just lay in the ground, had a bite to eat, and chilled for half an hour. But you can see what I've got ahead of me now. You can see Cruach Ardrain there. I've got one more noble to go over, and then drop to the Bialach, and then this intimidating steep pull up. And the outlier to the left is Ben Chulachan, which is another Munro actually. I'm not going to be doing that today. I've done that 4 or 5 times. The last time I did it was when I came up from Benmore actually with Jerry up and over this top into Cruach Ardrain, and then Ben Chulachan, and we came back just along the sort of south-eastern side to miss going over the top again. But yeah, let's get going. It's going to be a steep old pool up here. I'll just have to keep my wits about me because it is steep. And the other thing I was going to say is the reason that I came and chose the horseshoe to do it clockwise was I didn't want to be coming down this steep slope. It's going to be easier going up it. So, yeah. Right, I'm getting a better view of this pool that lies ahead. Hopefully you can see it okay in the camera. I'm maybe a bit silhouetted here, but yeah, this is going to be steep going up here. It's very, very craggy, so I just need to be careful. There was a slight path from what I remember, so I just need to follow that the best I can. Anyway, let's go and see if we can get to the top.
From here it was just a short drop down a little bit further to the Bealach, and then once you're at the sort of lowest point here, it's about a 200 metre ascent, maybe just under, to get to the top of Cruach Ardrain. And I tell you what, it's one hell of a steep pool. It was just as steep as I remember it being, and if you're going to come up this way, just be careful. A lot of care is required. It's not a place to trip or fall, that's for sure.
Right, I think I'm just about there. You'll be able to see behind me how far I've got to go, but just I thought I'd do a stop. God, I can't speak so I'm out of breath. I thought I'd stop and put the camera, and I'll show you where I've come from, down here. Now it probably doesn't look that bad. There's my foot. Yeah, I've come over Stobgarth there, down to the Bealach, and this has been quite steep. It's just as steep as I thought it would be, but there is a path. It isn't the sort of path you'd see on most Munros or normal routes up Munros, but there is a path there. It's just as steep as I remember when I did it with Jerry. Word of warning, it isn't for novices. If you're not that au fait with exposure or heights, I wouldn't come up this way. I certainly wouldn't come down this way unless you were experienced. And even in conditions like today, I've come up this way. I've done it this way, so I'm going up it and not coming down it. In the winter and rain and ice and snow, you'd really have to know what you were doing to come up this route. So just a word of warning there. Right, I think I'm just using this as an excuse to get my breath back. I'll report back when I'm on the summit, because I think I'm about 10 minutes from reaching the highest point of the day. Whew, look at this though, what a view. Not a bad place just to sit and loiter, eh? Right, let's go to the top. Oh, the summit of Cruach Ardrain, the highest point of the day, and you literally, because that's so steep, you don't see it. You're literally pull up in a hold, and the summit cairn's just about there. There's a wee sort of rocky bandits on, but what a place! Fantastic! Wow, not a bad viewpoint. I'm just going to sit here for a while and take in the views. Magic, absolutely magic. Oh, lovely. I've got the summit to myself as well, which is great. I think when I was on the top of Stobgarth, there was I can see loads of people up here, but we're quite late now. It's after 3 o'clock. And although I didn't leave late for this reason, sometimes if you do leave late, you can miss the crowds because most people are up. And especially when there's a second Munro to do, this will be the first one for many people from the most popular way up. I still expect to see some people on my way down. But the good thing on the way down, I've got a nice path to follow all the way until I come off and find that new forestry route. It's been great. And the other thing I was going to talk about was in relation to the route down, doing a nice horseshoe always seems to be more satisfying. I don't know why, than a linear in and out. Just mentally it makes it nice. Maybe it's slightly different views on the way down. Keeps the mind stimulated, but yeah, what a fantastic quarry, and I'm really looking forward to the downward route back to the car now. Lovely. I suppose It's been lovely just sitting here in the shelter from the wind on the side of the cairn. It's lovely. But time to go back. Really nice views. It's a wee bit hazy today, but I'll maybe put up a 360. But you can see obviously closest by Stibinian, Benmore, and then you can see over to the Glen Lyon Hills. Oh, up to Bendoran, past the Bridgeorchy Hills, Ben Louis, round down towards the Araker Hills. You can see the flat top of Ben Narnain. And then down here is a Corbett. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but I had one of the best cloud inversions, temperature inversions, should I say, a Hogmanay many moons ago going up there. And you can see Ben Vorlich, Stika Croin, Ben Lady. Anyway, time to head down. Let's report when I get a bit further down the path. And I think I'll probably bump into a few people, perhaps, but as I said, it's quite late, so I might have to help myself. Let's go. Right, I'll report back in a wee while.
So I started my descent, and I was right. I didn't meet another soul, which I was quite surprised about. Even though it was later in the day, I thought I'd maybe meet a few stragglers, but nope, I had the whole place to myself, which was lovely.
A wee cairn, or the wee pile of stones, is another wee top called Meal Dam, and it's 814 metres. You can see where I've come down off Cruach Ardrain there. Ooh, I'm tired. I thought this was a good spot just to show you the route. If I just spin you around, you can see that, I don't know if you're able to make it out, but down there's some forest. I skirted round to the left of that and basically just followed the ridge all the way up the ups and downs. And there's Benmore in the background. Up to, that was Stobgarth there, and then the big drop before the big hike up, and then back down and round the path. So yeah, it's been a good round, and then the ridge goes down here to a top called Grey Heights, and that's where I'm going to come off and head back down through the forestry and hopefully catch that new forestry road. And I don't think that's worth videoing, so it might be worth videoing because I might miss it and end up in some horrible ground, because forestry grounds, it's horrible to get through anyway, unless there's a forestry road obviously. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I think I'm going to end the video here. It's been a great day, a great round. I'm really tired because I was out yesterday as well, so I'm just going to put the camera away. So thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Right, take me head home.